What up, y'all? It's your boy, right back here with another shorty. This one's going to be about the rowdy bus rides I used to have back when I was in school. And I think about elementary, middle, and high school, some of the rowdy school buses I used to ride. It's not even close. Um, the most rowdy buses and bus rides that I had back when I was in school, not even close, was back in middle school at Johnny Cake Middle School. Um, my Milford bus rides were not really too right. It wasn't too many. I probably could count on one hand how many fights happened like on our school bus. Elementary school, I only rode the bus 1 year of elementary school, and there wasn't no action on that bus. But middle school of Johnny Cake Middle, oh my God. It was bus rides from hell, man. Back then, I used to live in a townhouse community called Stratton Meadows. And Stratton Meadows, for people who don't know, is back up there where Heraldry Square is. You had Heraldry Square, Courtly and Coventry, then you had Stratton Meadows, then you had Diamond Ridge condos in the back. And at Johnny Cake, we had, because that complex is so big, they had two different buses that ran back up in Heraldry Square. They had one that went to what we call Section 1, and then you had the other one that went to Section 2. Section 2 was the Heraldry Square, because people who are familiar with Heraldry Square, you know, Heraldry Square was separated, was divided into two different parts. You had the Heraldry Square that was like right across from where Dogwood Station is now, where the Pizza Hut and all that stuff is. That was Section 2. We ended up living there later on, years later. But we were over in the Section 1 part. And the Section 1 part was the part down off of Tudsbury. And that's where the majority of the people lived at. You had Heraldry Square was the first complex you went into when you went back there. Once you passed Heraldry Square, you got to Courtly and Coventry. And once you passed Courtly and Coventry, you got to Stratton Meadows. And behind Stratton Meadows was Diamond Ridge. We all rode that bus. And that was the more rowdy of the two Heraldry Square buses, because it was a lot more people that lived on that side in Section 1. Our bus rides was crazy, man. We on top of that, we had like the craziest bus driver you could ever imagine. What was his name? We knew his name. God, I forgot his name. And he was funny. He used to scream and holler at us all the time because it was rowdy. People wouldn't sit down. He driving the bus. People standing up. They wrestling on the bus. They doing all kind of stuff. And it would be a lot of fights, like after school. So I remember this one dude. I'm not going to say nobody's name because it's a lot of Johnny Cake people on here. And y'all going to know exactly what I'm talking about. But it was a dude. They used to pick on him every day. I remember I was like in 6th grade. And then you had the upperclassmen. They were like 7th and 8th grade as well. These dudes was like in 7th grade, 8th grade. But there was just one particular dude. Whenever I was around him, I don't think he even had any friends up Johnny Cake. He was always kind of by himself. And when he got on the bus, he always sat in the front seat right behind the bus driver. Well, when some of the other dudes got on the bus, because a lot of us, we sat in the back. The goons that would ride that bus, the goon squad from Heraldry Square, they were older. And like I said, we were a year or two younger. And I used to be like best friends with like a couple of their brothers, little brothers. So I kind of hung with them. And I'm new. I'm in sixth grade. I don't really know nobody but the people that's in Heraldry Square and Stratton Meadows, Courtney, and Coventry, or whatever. So and all of them lived in Heraldry Square. They all lived in Heraldry Square, except for like maybe one or two of them. But it was like 4 or 5 of these dudes, and they used to pick on that dude that sat in that front seat. I'm assuming they were all in the same grade, because I never even seen this dude in the school. But the way that Johnny Cake Middle School was set up, you didn't really see upperclassmen because they had everybody sectioned off. Like they had all the 6th graders in one wing, all 7th graders in one wing, one wing, Lord have mercy. And then they had all the 8th graders in one wing. So you really only saw people that were in your grade at Johnny Cake Middle School until you got on the bus. But they used to pick with this dude every day. And I'm talking about they would get on the bus and just, as soon as they passed, they might say something to him, and he would always buck. I mean, to have these dudes messing with you and you by yourself, and they always would say stuff to him, and then as soon as he would buck, they just take off on him. He would get lit up like right behind the bus driver. And then they would all come sit in the back. We all in the back. He's sitting in the front seat. So by the time we get off the bus, and that particular bus that we had, they had multiple stops. The Heraldry Square stop was the last stop when he went back up into our compound. And as soon as he would get to their stop, like as soon as you turned into the Heraldry Square compound, the very first street was where their bus stop was at. It was like we had like 3 bus stops on back there. It was theirs, the Courtney and Coventry stop, and then the back there, but Stratton Meadows and Diamond Red stop. They got off on that first Heraldry Square stop, and they would get off that bus, man. All of them would get off, and a couple of them didn't even live in Heraldry Square. They lived back up there. They supposed to got off with me in the back of Stratton Meadows. They would get off and they would just wail on him. He would get beat up, man. They would bank him no less than 3 times a week, every week. They would just light him up 3 to 4 times every week. He might get 1, maybe 2 days where he didn't get banked. They would beat him up. It's almost like they was beating him up just for practice, just to keep, just to keep their fighting skills up or something. They used to beat him up all the time. And the only reason it stopped, and this went on for weeks, only reason why it stopped, because something happened and they kind of like, I think they got into some kind of beef with each other. And then they started fighting each other and they left him alone. They started beefing with each other. And then when they started beefing with each other, this dude that was getting banked originally, he just stopped riding our bus. He didn't ride the bus no more. He couldn't do it no more. His whole face would just be lumped up. He looked like Martin when Tommy Hearns knocked him out. They used to beat him up all the time I don't even know why. It's just like it was something to do. I remember one girl, she got beat up. This girl, she was like a model looking chick. She was in 6th grade with me. She was in my class. And she rode our bus. She lived back up there where we lived at. And she got into a beef with somebody on the bus. And this girl wasn't known for fighting. She was like one of them uppity. I mean, she looked good. She talked trash, but you never seen her put in the work. Well, she got into it with somebody, and they got off the bus, and they lit her up. She got beat up, and got beat up bad, to the point where, like, the girl wanted to beat her up, like, every day. So, like, every day she would beat her up. Every day when they got off the bus, they fighting and beat her up. And it got to the point where our bus driver, Mr. Harrison, I just came to my memory, Mr. Harrison. It got to the point where he didn't even let her off the bus because she got off on my stop, the last stop. It got to the point where we would all get off the bus. He would tell her to wait. And then once we all get off the bus, he would take her directly home. He wouldn't even let her off the bus because he knew when she got off this bus, she'd get lit up again. And so he just started taking her directly to her house and taking her home. Crazy. To keep her from getting lit up on that bus stop. And it was a lot of other fights and people getting beat up and banked on that bus. Because he used to he would take us back to Johnny Cake a lot of times. We would probably get driven back to the building maybe once every 2 weeks, maybe. It would be so rowdy on that bus. I mean, they either fighting, wrestling, they standing up, they throwing stuff at cars driving by. Our bus was just rowdy, the Heraldry Square bus. And he would like I said, he would take all the other people home first. The Heraldry Square compound was the last stop. He'll wait till he take all the other people home. And then once he take all the other people home, and we'd get right on Rolling Road, getting ready to turn into Heraldry Square. He'll turn in there, drive back into the complex, turn the bus around, and drive us all the way back to Johnny Cake Middle School, go in the building and go get the principal and bring the principal out there to come get on us. One time, he took us back, and it was so bad, she made everybody get off the bus, and we had to either walk home or we had to call our parents to come get us. She wouldn't even let us ride the bus home that day. I walked home from Johnny Cake Middle School all the way back up to Stratton Meadows in the back of that Heraldry Square compound. If you know anything about that Heraldry Square compound, Stratton Meadows all the way in the back. So that's a walk. He used to scream and holler at us. I mean, that bus driver used to scream and holler at us all the time. I never forget his dude, Mr. Harrison. And I was sad to hear that he had passed away. I think he passed away when we were in our high school years. Because he was so crazy, like everybody knew him. Even though we was out of school, people would still talk about him because he was still driving the bus up Johnny Cake. And, some of us older ones, not myself, but some of other, my friends, they had like brothers and sisters that still went to Johnny Cake, even though we were in high school. And I heard that he had passed away. That man, I know he probably had, and that man, I heard he had a heart attack. And I was thinking, we probably drove that man to a heart attack. That bus was so bad. And that was like when I was in 6th grade, 7th grade. It really got bad when I got in 8th grade. Because when we were in 8th grade, all the little kids that was in elementary school, when we was up Johnny Cake, they came to Johnny Cake. They in 6th grade. So when I was in 8th grade, that 6th grade class, oh my God, you thought we was bad. Them fools was bad straight baby kids. They was worse than us. It was like that 6th grade class ain't had no chill. They just came to Johnny Cake for war. We fighting everybody. We don't care. We taking the school over. I was glad to get up out of there. It just got terrible. And most of them was from back there in that Heraldry Square compound, man. It was just some characters that lived back up in there, man. I enjoyed living back there. It was a lot of stuff went down back up in Heraldry Square. Stuff that happened just forget the bus, just stuff on the street that went down back up in there, man. And you had to be there. I mean, there's some stories that I could tell y'all that I can't even tell you. I can't even put that out there. The stuff that happened back up in Heraldry Square. Some of the fights, some of the things that people was doing back there. If you got stomped out back there, they liable to do anything to you, man. They might do something strange to you, man. It went down up in Heraldry Square back in them days, man. Oh Lord, but yeah, that was my little shorty for the day. Just the craziest bus rides. I mean, it never got like that at Milford. the buses that I rode was never rowdy like that. Like I said, I only rode the school bus one time, 1 year, well, 2 years actually. My fourth and fifth grade years. My fourth grade, I went to a private school, and I caught the bus. And fifth grade, I rode the school bus. My mother, she didn't want me to walk to school because at that time we still lived in Woodmore, and I went to Woodmore Elementary my fifth grade year. The whole time I was in elementary school, I lived in Woodmore, but my mother sent me to school with my cousins in the city. We went to Malcolm X kindergarten through third, and I went to private school with fourth grade because we were so bad up at Malcolm X that she put me in private school. She didn't want me going to school with them no more. We were just terrorizing up Malcolm X. I'm gonna have to do some stories about Malcolm X. Stuff y'all ain't gonna believe. That's definitely on the menu. I'm gonna tell some of the Malcolm X stories, man. The fights I used to get in, stuff that, oh my God. I gotta be careful telling y'all them stories because I don't want to get like kicked off of social media. I gotta really tone them stories down. But fifth grade, my mother, I should have been a walker. Where I lived at, you could walk to Woodmore Elementary School. But and I was supposed to be a walker. But my mother didn't want me to walk for whatever reason. So they had it so that you could pay the bus driver. And the bus driver would come and pick kids up. There were a lot of kids who their parents didn't want them walking. And so you had to actually pay the school bus to come get you because you technically are not a bus rider. I could have walked to Woodmore from my house in maybe 5 minutes. I mean, I live right on the corner of Yattaruba and Hillsmere, which is right around, I mean, I'm a straight shot to Woodmore Elementary School. So I caught the bus that year, and that bus, we just clowned around, had fun on that bus. But the violence, them 3 years at Johnny Cake Middle School on that bus, Mr. Harrison was our bus driver. Oh my God! And don't try to go on that bus without your bus card, because they gave us bus cards back then. If you did not have that bus card, he did not let you on that bus. And I don't care if he know you, he ain't letting you on that bus. If you ain't got that bus card, you had to show him your bus card. Everybody had to show that bus card when they got on that bus. Even if he knew you ain't got that bus card, you ain't getting on this bus. Forget that. It's out. You're out. So I think I still got some of my bus cards. But I know I got my Milford bus cards, I don't think I got my Johnny Cake bus cards. I still got a lot of stuff from school packed up in my boxes down in my basement. But yeah, worst bus rides, don't even compare. Johnny Cake Middle School. That school was off the hook. It really was. And when I first went to Johnny Cake, first of all, I never even heard of Johnny Cake Middle School before. Like I said, I lived in Woodmore. All I knew in my brain was to go to Woodmore Elementary. I was going to Woodlawn Middle, and in my mind, I'm going to Woodlawn High. Like I said, I'd never even heard of Milford. All I know is what's in the Woodmore area. So I know Woodmore Elementary. I know Woodlawn Middle, which is right around the corner from the house. And I'm thinking I'm going to Woodlawn High, But we ended up moving after my fifth grade year, and moved into Johnny Cake's school district. And my grandparents used to joke me all the time that I was going to Johnny Cake Middle. It's not called Johnny Cake Middle anymore. It's called I think it's called Southwest Academy now. But it was Johnny Cake Middle School back then. And I used to joke me all the time. Tavon go to the cake school. I was the laughing stock of the family because I went to Johnny Cake Middle School. Yeah, but I tell you, man, it was I had some good years of Johnny Cake. I'm gonna do some more Johnny Cake Middle School videos too. I got a lot of stories about Johnny Cake. So yeah, worst bus rides ever, most violent, most anything negative. Johnny Cake Middle School, and that's what I was thinking. Like I said, I never heard of Johnny Cake Middle School. All I knew was Woodlawn. So to me, Woodlawn was like the end all be all of middle schools. And Woodlawn Middle School was known for violence. We would hear the stories stuff going on at Woodlawn Middle when we was at Woodmore Elementary. So and Johnny Cake was just like that. I don't know. It just seemed like, I don't know if they trying to compete with how violent this school can get compared to Woodlawn or what, because that's all you heard of was Woodlawn when we was at Johnny Cake, what they doing at Woodlawn. You never heard about nobody at Old Court Middle. You never heard about Pikesville Middle. You never heard of Deer Park. All these other middle schools, you never heard nothing about them. It was always Woodlawn, 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 Woodlawn. And then you be up here at Johnny Cake. And it was, anybody who went to Johnny Cake, at least during that time, it was off the hook up that school. It was just fights all the time. I mean, it was probably a good 3 to 4 fights a week, every week. And I'm not exaggerating. I mean, it was fights all the time in the hallway, in the locker room, in the bathroom. I got into a couple of fights. I got into 2 fights in the bathrooms with dudes I wasn't even beefing with. I got into a fight in the bathroom with a dude that used to just fight everybody. He had like anger management issues. I think they eventually kicked him out of Johnny Cake. Because he was just constantly fighting. He would fight, get suspended for a week, 2 weeks, come back, and he ain't back a week or two, and he already in another fight. He was always fighting. And one day he decided he wanted to fight me for no reason. I was in the bathroom, he come in there, and he just looked at me and was like, all right, let's fight. That's all he said. All right, let's fight. I never even talked to this dude. Me and him fought in the bathroom for no reason. And I don't know who won. I mean, he got his shots in, I got my shots in. I mean, everything he did to me, I did to him. So I don't know who. We fought for no reason at all. Wasn't nobody there. It was just me and him. He just wanted to fight just to be fighting. And he used to fight all the time. He fought I can't even count how many fights he was in. He just fought people for no reason. If he ain't, I can't imagine what he could possibly be doing now if he never changed that behavior. Because he just liked to fight. And like I said, I fought him for absolutely no reason. I had no beef with him. I never even talked to him. Nobody liked him because all he wanted to do was fight. He had like anger management issues or something. And then I fought another dude, and this dude, now this was a dude I used to pick on. I used to pick on him. And I know he's actually heavy in the church now. Heavy in the church now. And back then, I used to pick on him for whatever reason. And I guess he got tired of it. He got tired of me picking on him. And one day, we was in the bathroom, and I was picking on him in the bathroom. And I guess he just had enough. And he took his glasses off and like, all right, forget it, we fighting. He got tired of me picking on him. And we fought in the bathroom, and I put in work. I put in work on him, but I respected him for that because I could see it in his eyes. He was done. He was fed up with me saying things to him and doing things to him because I was different back then, and he got tired of me bullying him, as they would say nowadays, and he just wanted let's fight. Took his glasses off and said, let's fight. And so we fought in the bathroom. I put some work in, but I respected him. I never bothered him again. Because I respected that he stood up for himself. He stood up for himself. He got beat up, but he stood up for himself. And I never picked with him no more. As a matter of fact, I became cool with him. You know what I'm saying? And even beyond middle school and high school, I mean, I've seen and talked to him as adults, and he's doing great things right now. And but at that day, me and him, we fought in the bathroom because he got tired of me picking on him, and I respected him for that. Because it probably wasn't just me. A lot of people probably picked on him because that's just the type of characters that was up Johnny Cake. You know, it was a lot of foolishness and tomfoolery going on up at that school, man. That school was crazy up there. So you had to be crazy to survive up in there. So, yeah, that was just 2 fights I had been in up there. I've been in a few other ones up there. It's hard to do. It was hard to go through Johnny Cake without having to put in some work around there because everybody gonna try you, male and female. They're gonna try you up there. So that's it. That's it. My Johnny Cake Middle School crazy bus rides, man. It was crazy up there. But that's it for today. Check y'all out on the next one.